Hey, what's up everyone? I'm Andrew and I want to share my thoughts on why I think Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp is worth getting. This video is going to be a little different than my previous videos as I typically talk about games that already released, but since this is a reboot, I have a fairly good idea how this game will be. I want to talk about the original version and why it aged so well after 20 plus years and why I'm picking up Reboot when it comes out. So let's get into this. Advance Wars came out on the Game Boy Advance in September of 2001, over 20 years ago from the release of this video. And you know what? I totally discarded it thinking it was just another children's game with no real strategy. How wrong was I? I was quick to judge a book by its cover because of its kid-friendly colors and anime-style characters. Back then, I wanted games that I would be able to relate to as being a little more realistic. We had games like Halo CE, Silent Hill, Metal Gear Solid 2, and by no means these games are realistic to me, but it was easier to relate, and I think this was the color palette that turned me off. Fast forward to today, I know better than to judge a book by its cover. A perfect example is Advance Wars, and now Advance Wars Reboot that's coming out on the Nintendo Switch in the near future. To give a little history lesson about the Game Boy Advance, well, when it came out, I was not an early adopter because of the lack of the backlit screen. When the Game Boy SP came out, this was a total game changer for me. This was when I jumped onto the Game Boy bandwagon and started collecting for it in 2002. I still have my original Game Boy SP along with several games and even picked up the Game Boy player for the GameCube to play on the big screen that I might do a video because I think it's just really neat technology to get the Game Boy onto your TV. So the original question was, why I think Advance Wars Reboot would be worth getting on the Nintendo Switch. Well, I've been playing a lot of Advance Wars on the Game Boy Advance, and based on the trailer, it's taking the GBA version of games mechanics onto the Nintendo Switch. So let's talk about the mechanics and why even today the GBA version is still very relevant if you can get your hands on it. Let's look at the basic principle of its gameplay. You have an army that you need to either eliminate your adversary's army or capture their capital. Each battle has to be carefully planned out with a modified version of paper, scissors, rock. Not only this, but depending on the unit, they use fuel and ammunition, so if you don't plan logistically to support these units, eventually they'll be useless on the battlefield. Each unit is unique and has its own strengths and weaknesses along with this. You have terrain to worry about. For example, infantry can cross mountains and rivers with a penalty with decreased movement, but armor units such as tanks cannot. Depending on terrain, it can give you a defense bonus and penalty to make you more vulnerable to attack. Each unit can only occupy one tile at a time with the exception of a transport vehicle. This is where, for example, you can load an infantry unit, transport them over bodies of impassable water such as lake, or take them much further into the battlefield to save on time. Damaged units are not as combat effective as fully healed or undamaged units. You have more firepower when battling. Infantry units can capture cities, and once you have control of a captured or occupied city after each turn, your units inside them heal. If you don't have a city nearby to heal, with the same unit type you can combine them to increase their HP to make them more combat effective, but now 2 units turn into 1. Each unit has a max HP of 10 and die when they reach 0. This is just the very basics, as there's so much more such as leader powers, air combat, building, training new units, and fighting more than one adversary at a time. I just wanted to share what Advance Wars is and how excited I am to eventually see this on the Nintendo Switch with much cleaner graphics. In honesty, if you're worried that this game will feel like it's aged and it's no longer relevant, I would challenge you on that. Last couple weeks, I could not put down Advance Wars on the GBA. Other than graphics, and this is just my opinion, the developers really created a masterpiece that so far, after 20 years, still feels very relevant today. A part of me believes Advance Wars Reboot will release in September, 3 months from this video to commemorate the GBA release back in 2001, but we'll see as we're still waiting for a release date. I'm not one to make predictions as timelines can shift due to business reasons and what else Nintendo has on their lineup for the rest of the year. Whenever Advance Wars Reboot releases, I really hope you pick it up because it will be a day one pickup for me, and I plan to do some analysis on changes from the original to the reboot and overall review. Well, I'm Andrew, and I'll see you at the next video.